Hello everyone. Today we'll be dealing with chapter 5 of NCERT 11th standard Political Science Indian Constitution at Work. This chapter 5 deals with legislature. So in this chapter we will see this following things regarding the legislature. What do you mean by legislature? What are the functions of legislature? What kind of legislature we have in India at the central level and at the state level. We'll also see that how the elected legislatures function and help in maintaining the democratic government. What is the composition and functioning of parliament and state legislature in India? What is their importance in government decision making and democratic government? Apart from this, after reading this chapter, you will be able to know the importance or functions of legislature, their role in the democracy, powers and parliaments of Parliament of India, law making procedure, parliament, how parliament controls the executive organ of the government, and how parliament will regulate itself. So in this chapter we will be dealing with all these aspects. Before dealing this, let us see what is the difference between the term legislature and parliament. See, government is made up of three organs: legislature, executive and judiciary. Every country will have legislature, but every country's legislature will have unique name. So legislature in India and UK is called parliament. Legislature in USA is called Congress. Legislature in Russia it is called Duma. So clear, legislature word, the word legislature is generic name and the term parliament is specific name. So legislature in India at the central level is called parliament. Now having seen the meaning of word parliament, we'll see why do we need parliament in India. So we need parliament for making new laws. This is required in all democracies. Second reason why we need legislature is to keep representatives accountable, to control the executive. Then you will see that a strong leader in parliament will answer to the satisfaction of the parliament. Herein lies the democratic potential of parliament. Parliament will be recognized as the most democratic and open forum of debate. So all the debates in the India of national importance will be done in parliament. Then this legislature will choose and dismiss the government. So in earlier chapter we have seen that in parliamentary democracy an executive can remain in power, can come to power and continue in power if and only if it enjoys majority in Lok Sabha. So parliament will choose and dismiss the government. So these all are above the utilities of the parliament, because of which we need parliament. Now you will see that this legislature in the center, which is called parliament, can be of two types: unicameral and bicameral. Unicameral means one house, bicameral means two house. In India, parliament is bicameral. It is for this reason lower house is Lok Sabha, upper house is Rajya Sabha. Similarly, states, legislature in states are of two types. Some states are bicameral, some states are unicameral. If some states are unicameral, it will have only state legislative assembly. But if state legislature is bicameral, it will have two house, state legislative assembly and state legislative council. Okay, so legislature can be of two type, unicameral and bicameral, and this is the situation in India. Now we'll see earlier we have seen that why do we need parliament. Now we'll see why we need two houses in parliament. Why can't India have only Lok Sabha? If India has Lok Sabha, why do we need Rajya Sabha? If we have Rajya Sabha, can we end or dismantle the Rajya Sabha? Can our country function, cannot only function with Lok Sabha? So we'll see that Parliament is the national legislature, and the legislature of the state will be called as state legislature. Now, Parliament of India is bicameral because it is having two houses. Since it is having two houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha is called Council of State and Lok Sabha is called House of People. And Constitution has given the option to the states either it should have unicameral or bicameral. So at present only 7 states in India, only 7 states in India are bicameral. So we'll see which are these states which are bicameral. So all these states here are bicameral: Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jammu Kashmir, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh. Now this Jammu and Kashmir, after the abrogation of Article 370, has become union territories, but erstwhile Legislative Assembly of Jammu Kashmir was bicameral. So from this map you can see Jammu Kashmir, Bihar, UP, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Karnataka and this Telangana. So all these states have bicameral legislature or the second chamber of the state legislature. Second chamber of the state legislature. So now we'll see why we need two houses. Utility of Rajya Sabha or utility of two houses. Our country India is of large size and it is having diverse population. So because of two house, all sections in the society can have representation. So because of this advantage of representation, we have two houses. Apart from that, if you have two houses, then your decisions can be reconsidered. Every bill and policy will be discussed twice and it will be checked twice. So it prevents hasty legislations. Once bills is passed in Lok Sabha, it will be revised in Rajya Sabha. If it is passed in Rajya Sabha, it will be revised in Lok Sabha. So two times any bill or policy decisions will have to pass the test of representatives. So it is because of these two reasons we have two houses in India. So now we'll see two houses individually. First, we'll see Rajya Sabha, composition and function. Each of the two houses have different kind of representation. Rajya Sabha will represent the states of India and Lok Sabha will represent the people of India. So Lok Sabha is directly elected, Rajya Sabha is indirectly elected. So Rajya Sabha is an indirectly elected body. How it is indirectly elected body? The residents of the state will elect the members of the state legislative assembly, and then these elected members of state legislative assembly will in turn elect the members of the Rajya Sabha. So the members of Rajya Sabha are not directly elected by the citizens or people of India as in the case of Lok Sabha, but the people of the state will elect the MLAs and these MLAs in turn will elect MPs in Rajya Sabha. Okay. So earlier we have talked about two types of representation. One is equal representation and the another is representation according to population. So these are the two types of representation. In Rajya Sabha, either there in a upper house or in the case of Rajya Sabha, there can be this kind of representation. In America, every state will send two members in its upper house, Senate. But in India, every state does not have equal representation in Rajya Sabha because according to fourth schedule, this representation is dependent on population. If a state is having more population like UP, it will have more seats. Sikkim has less population, so it has only one seat, while UP has more population of around 20 crore, so it is having 31 seats. So in India, how many seats a particular state will have in Rajya Sabha is dependent on its population, and all states do not enjoy equal representation in Rajya Sabha as in the case of USA. Now we have seen that the representation of Rajya Sabha is based on population. So region and parts having larger population will have more seats in the second chamber, and regions having less population will relatively have less seats. We have seen that in USA you have equal representation, but in Rajya Sabha of India, according to fourth schedule, representation is dependent on population. Since UP is having this population, so it is having 31 seats. Sikkim is having only population of 5.71 lakhs, so Sikkim will have only one seat in Rajya Sabha. Now we'll see how these members are elected, or the members of Rajya Sabha are of two types. One elected indirectly and other are nominated. Once elected, they will stay in the Rajya Sabha for 6 years, after which they can be re-elected. But a unique feature of Rajya Sabha that all the members do not complete their terms at the same time. 1/3 of the members will retire every 2 years in Rajya Sabha. 1/3 of the members will retire every 2 years in Rajya Sabha. So you will see that elections will be held for only 1/3 of the seats. It is for this reason Rajya Sabha is never dissolved like Lok Sabha. It is a permanent house, and the advantage of this permanent house is that when Lok Sabha is dissolved and elections are yet to be take place, in such kind of crisis Rajya Sabha can be convened and urgent business regarding the country can be conducted. These all are the advantages of Rajya Sabha, and we have discussed the indirectly elected members of Rajya Sabha. Now we will see the nominated members. This is the second type of members in Rajya Sabha. Total 12 members are nominated in Rajya Sabha by President. Only those people can be nominated by President who have specialized knowledge in literature, science, art and social service. This kind of provision has been added because these people who do not have popular support and cannot come through Rajya Sabha but have immense knowledge which can be useful in the legislative process or the legislative process, their knowledge can be utilized while making the law. So these experts can be introduced via Rajya Sabha by the government, which can help us in drafting good laws for the country. So this is all about the type of members in Rajya Sabha. Now we'll move to Lok Sabha. This is the another house of India. Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies of the states are directly elected. For this purpose, entire country is divided into territorial constituencies. One MP or representative will be elected from a particular constituency. At present, our country India is divided into 543 constituencies. This has not changed since the census of the 1971. Once an MP is elected in Lok Sabha, he will continue for 5 years. Now, before the completion of 5 years, Lok Sabha can be dissolved in two conditions. First, if party or no party or a coalition forms the government, and second, if the Prime Minister advises the President to dissolve the Lok Sabha and hold fresh elections. These are the two conditions in which Lok Sabha can be dissolved before completing its 5-year term. Having seen Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, now we will see the functions performed by the Parliament. What kind of functions do Parliament perform? The first and foremost task of the Parliament is to make law. It is the chief law-making body of the country. Okay, but you will see that Cabinet also has an important role. No major bill can be introduced in the Parliament without the approval of the Cabinet. Other members can also introduce the bill, but the chance of their passing is very less because the majority is with Cabinet. Now we'll see the second important function performed by Parliament is to control executive and ensure accountability. This is absent in presidential form of government where executive is not responsible to legislature. But in parliamentary form of government, executive will stay in power till it enjoys majority in Lok Sabha, and it is because of this reason Lok Sabha will control the executive. So this is the second important function. Third important function is in terms of the financial matters, how different programs, for different programs executive has to take the approval of legislature. So there can not legislature controls the taxation also. If government wants to introduce new tax, it has to take the approval of the Parliament. Parliament will also grant resources for the government to implement new schemes or programs. And the government, after spending all the money, has to give account to the legislature how it has spent the money. Legislature will also ensure that such money has been not misused by misspending or overspending. Finally, the most important instrument of financial control over executive is budget. Every year, this budget, which is also called annual financial statement, executive has to take the approval of legislature. Only then this budget can be implemented, and it will authorize the executive to spend money from the consolidated fund of India. Another important function performed by the Parliament is representation. It will represent all the different regions, socio-economic, religious groups of the country. Fifth function is the debating function. It is the highest forum to debate. There is no limitation on the power of discussion. All the matters of the national importance can be discussed in Parliament. Then, sixth important function is the constituent function. All the changes in the constitution is done by Parliament. Under Article 368, Constitution empowers Parliament to amend the Constitution either by special majority or special majority and half of the state legislature. Then the electoral functions. Parliament will elect President and Vice President. This we'll see in the chapter ahead how the MPs take participation in the election of President and Vice President. Then Parliament eighth function is the judicial function, that is the removal of President, Vice President, judges of High Courts and Supreme Court. So these are all about the functions of Parliament. And we have seen that Parliament consists of two houses, and these are the individual powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Here we'll see that in powers of Lok Sabha can make laws on the subjects mentioned in union list, concurrent list. It can introduce and enact money bills and non-money bills. This is the important power of Lok Sabha. In terms of budget, it gives approval. It controls executive by asking questions during question hours, 0 hour, etc. It will amend constitution. It will also approve the proclamation of emergency under Article 352. Lok Sabha is also involved in the election of President, Vice President and removal of the judges of Supreme Court and High Court. There are several committees in which members of Lok Sabha are there, which performs the several functions. Now we'll see the functions of Rajya Sabha. In case of money bill, Rajya Sabha will suggest many changes. Rajya Sabha will approve the constitutional amendment. Rajya Sabha will also exercise control over the executive. Rajya Sabha, like Lok Sabha, will participate in the removal of President, Vice President, judges of High Court and Supreme Court. However, it has one special power that it alone can initiate the procedure for the removal of Vice President. This cannot be done in Lok Sabha because Vice President is ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Also, this power is unique to Rajya Sabha, which is not with Lok Sabha, that it can give Union Parliament to make laws on the subject in the state list instead of union list. So, if the Parliament want to make law on the state list, center if it want to make law on the state subject, then the Rajya Sabha has all the power. So these are the powers of two houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now we will see that what are the special powers of Rajya Sabha. But before seeing this, we will see what is the main aim of Rajya Sabha. See, Rajya Sabha is an institution which provides representation to the states. Lok Sabha is an institution which represents the people of India directly. So, Rajya Sabha represents the states. So, in a federal form of polity, the representation of states is done by Rajya Sabha. Not only it represents the states, but it also protects the powers of the state. So whenever Union Parliament want to remove any subject from the state list, it has to take the approval of Rajya Sabha. And from our experience, we have seen that, but in practice or in practical life, Rajya Sabha, rather than representing the states, it has been seen that it is representing the political parties rather than the states. So this is a lacuna in the real functioning of Rajya Sabha in India. Now you will see that the powers exercised only by Lok Sabha. So Rajya Sabha cannot initiate, reject or amend money bills. In terms of money bill, the power of Rajya Sabha vis-a-vis Lok Sabha is less. This is the first situation. Second situation is Council of Ministers is responsible to Lok Sabha and not Rajya Sabha. This is under Article 75. So why this has been done? Why Rajya Sabha has been given less power than Lok Sabha? One more important power which Rajya Sabha does not have is that Rajya Sabha can only criticize the government, but it cannot remove it. Through no confidence motion, only Lok Sabha can remove the executive. So in these three aspects, 1, 2 and 3, Rajya Sabha has less powers than the Lok Sabha. Why this has been done? Why Rajya Sabha has been given less powers? Because Rajya Sabha is not directly elected by the people and Lok Sabha is directly elected by the people. It is for this reason Constitution has given more powers to Lok Sabha and not to Rajya Sabha. Okay. We have also seen that those who are directly elected, it means Lok Sabha has been given more powers in removing the government and controlling the finances vis-a-vis Rajya Sabha. Since Rajya Sabha is indirectly elected, it has less powers. Lok Sabha is directly elected, it has more powers. Now we'll see how the Parliament makes laws. Since it is a law-making body, what is the procedure in Parliament to make law? To understand this procedure, you have to see this chart. See, in this chart, you can see that bill, this is stage 1, will start when it is introduced in the either house of the Parliament. In case of non-money bill, because money bill cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. Once it is introduced in house, the house will send bill to the committee for discussion. Then the committee will give the report. On the basis of report, the house may accept or may not accept the recommendations of the committee. Then there will be detailed discussion on the bill. Then the house will either accept or reject it. If it is accepted, it will be sent to the other house. Then other house, either it will approve it or give recommendations. In case if the upper house rejects it, then there will be a joint session. Now if there is a joint session, Lok Sabha will have more MPs than Rajya Sabha. So in joint session, in this joint session is more favorable to Lok Sabha, because in Lok Sabha there are around 552 MPs, while in Rajya Sabha there are just 520 MPs. So in case of joint session, there will be 750 members. Out of 750, 500 are from Lok Sabha. So joint sitting or the joint session of the parliament is always in the favor of Lok Sabha. So once the bill is approved by the second house or it is approved by the joint sitting, it is sent to the president for the approval, and once the president approves, bill becomes the law. So this is the legislative procedure of parliament. We will also see that a bill, when it is duly passed by both the houses, it becomes an act. So bill is a draft proposal of the law. Now this bill is of two types depending on who is introducing it. If it is introduced by a minister, it will be a public bill. But if it is introduced by MP who is not the minister, it will be called as private bill. So these are the different kinds of bills. You can see here, bills are of money bill and non-money bill are of either ordinary bill or constitutional amendment bill. So any bill, if it is related to finance, specifically mentioned under Article 110, it will be called as money bill. Rest of the bills will be non-money bills. They can be ordinary bill or the constitution amendment bill. So we have seen the legislature procedure. Here you will see these committees are called miniature legislature, because like legislature there is lot of discussion is going on. And we have also seen that in case of disagreement, means if one house has passed a bill and other has rejected, or other has passed and first house has rejected it, there will be a joint session. Joint session will always be in the favor of Lok Sabha. Now we will see money bill. In case of money bill, the Rajya Sabha either it can approve or suggest the changes, but Rajya Sabha cannot reject it. But if it neither approves or neither suggests any changes, in other words, it doesn't take any action for 14 days, it is deemed to have been passed. Later on, Lok Sabha may or may not accept any of the suggestions given by the Rajya Sabha. So you will see that in case of money bill, Lok Sabha has more power than Rajya Sabha, because this body is directly elected and this body is indirectly elected. So Lok Sabha has been given more financial powers than Rajya Sabha. So this is how we have seen the legislative procedure, and there is an article 109 which says money bill will not be introduced in Council of States. Council of States means Rajya Sabha. And when this bill is passed by both the houses and assent has been taken from the president, this bill will become the law. Okay. Now we'll see how does Parliament will control the executive wing of the government. You have seen that in a parliamentary democracy, executive, if it is in majority in Lok Sabha, can be in power. If this majority is gone, executive will be dismissed or has to leave the power. So how does Parliament will exercise control over the executive? To exercise control over executive, Parliament has this kind of devices. These devices can be used in these stages: during the policy making stage, during the implementation of law, or during and post implementation stages. So these are the four devices through which legislature will control the executive. So you will see that during first device is through deliberation and discussion during question hour. So during question hour, MPs will ask question to the minister and minister will reply. So this is how Minister MP will be representing legislature wing, and executive will be a minister will be representing the executive wing, and this is how legislature will have control over the executive through question hour. Similar kind of control is exercised by executive over by legislature over executive is through 0 hour when questions are asked, and during half an hour discussion when matters of some public importance has been asked from government. We will see the second important device through which legislature will control executive is through approval and ratification of laws. So a bill can become law only when it has approval of parliament. Okay, so government has, if it has the support of majority, it will not find to get the approval of the legislature, but things are not always same. Government might be majority in Lok Sabha but not in Rajya Sabha. This happened in 1997 during the Janata Party rule, and 2000 in NDA rule. They had majority in Lok Sabha but they didn't have majority in Rajya Sabha. Now we'll see the third important instrument of legislative control over executive is financial control. Here, whenever any budget is passed by the executive, it cannot spend money until and unless it has the approval of the legislature. So this is how legislature will exercise control over the executive. And finally, the fourth instrument of legislative control over executive is no confidence motion. So parliament will ensure executive accountability through no confidence motion. So in case no confidence motion is passed, then government will be forced to resign. So each of these government lost the confidence of Lok Sabha because they failed to retain the coalition partners. So through no confidence motion, the existing government can be toppled down by the legislature and new government can be created. So these are some instruments through which legislature controls the executive. Now we'll see the functions of parliament committee. There are several committees of the parliament. We'll see their function. First is that they will help in law making. They will help in day-to-day business of the house. Making law, for instance, require in-depth study of the issue under consideration. This will be done by committees. Committees will also study demands of grants by the various ministries. They will also verify the expenditure incurred by the various departments. It will investigate into the cases of corruption. So above are the functions of parliamentary committee. Parliamentary committees are of standing committee type 1. There is another type of parliamentary committee, that is joint parliamentary committee. This is set up to discuss on a particular bill. So these all are the functions of the committees of the parliament. Now we'll see how does parliament will regulate itself. It is through the instrument of anti-defection law. Parliament will regulate itself through the use of anti-defection law. So presiding officers will control the behavior of MPs through anti-defection law. Most of the members of the legislature are elected on the ticket of some or other political party. After the election, what would happen if they decide to leave the party? Okay, so once they are elected on the party ticket, they should be restricted from defecting. So 52nd Amendment Act 1985 prevents this kind of defection. So this amendment is also called anti-defection amendment or anti-defection law. So in case of anti-defection, presiding officer will have the final decision, and if it is proved that a particular member has defected, then such a member will lose the membership of the house. So in other words, what is defection? If the member remains absent in the house when it is asked by the party leadership to remain present, or if it votes against the instruction of the party, or it voluntarily leaves the membership, this is called defection. But our Indian experience of past 20 years has shown that this anti-defection law has not been able to curb defection. However, it has successful in giving additional power to the party leadership and presiding officers in legislature over the members. So this is all about the legislative organ of the government. This is the conclusion. Please go through it. It will have all the essence of all our discussion. These are the exercises. Some questions are there. Try to answer it so that it will enhance your conceptual clarity. Here are also some questions. Finally, thank you. Here we will end the chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.